Welcome to the Explainer. Usually, when we think of buying a coconut, we picture picking up just one, right? Maybe from a local market or a roadside stall. We shake it, listen for that little slosh of water, maybe check the shell, and boom, that's it. But today, I want you to completely shift your perspective. We are zooming way out. Imagine you aren't buying one coconut. Imagine you're a B2B procurement officer, responsible for sourcing massive, multi-ton shipments every single week for a global retail chain. At that kind of scale, one bad coconut? That's an annoyance. A bad container? That's a catastrophic financial loss. So how do the absolute best in the business guarantee perfect coconuts on an industrial scale? Let's find out.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The sourcing challenge. 2. Why traceability matters. 3. Ethical farming builds trust. 4. Proving quality through certification. 5. The bulk buying advantage. And 6. Consistency is the product.
Section 1. The sourcing challenge. When perfect coconuts fail. We really need to talk about the hidden nightmares of fresh produce.
I want you to imagine this scenario for a second. You're a major distributor. You've just ordered a massive container of fresh coconuts. The photos from the packing station, they looked absolutely incredible. But weeks later, when you crack open those doors at your warehouse to fulfill a massive order for a major supermarket, you discover a total disaster. The produce has literally failed.
According to the sourcing experts over at Wholesale Estate, fresh coconuts have this really terrible habit of failing late in the game. A batch can look completely flawless when it leaves the dock, but arrive with severe delayed defects. We're talking about sprouting inside the husk, nasty mold forming right around the eyes of the shell, severely low water volume from dehydrating in transit, microscopic cracks from rough handling, or, honestly, worst of all, that sour fermented smell that just instantly kills consumer confidence. When you, as the buyer, call up your supplier to complain, the real question isn't just, whose fault is this? The critical question you absolutely need an answer to is, what changed?
Which brings us to Section 2. Why traceability matters. Finding the why. So, the crucial point here is that traceability isn't just some fancy corporate buzzword. It's a highly practical, day-to-day business tool. Traceability is simply your ability to work backwards to find the why. It means knowing exactly where every single batch came from, down to the very harvest date, the exact handling methods, and the specific quality checks. It takes a messy, finger-pointing argument and turns it into a clear, actionable answer.
Think about it. Without traceability, everyone is just guessing. But with it, you can walk chronologically backward through the entire supply chain path. If a defect pops up, first you look at the container conditions. If that's totally fine, you look at the truck. Then you trace it back to the specific packing team. And finally, right back to the exact block of the farm where those coconuts grew. By tracing this path, a supplier can easily isolate a problematic batch and fix the root cause without blowing up the entire global supply line.
Because quality starts way before those coconuts are ever tossed into a box. Tracking specific farm metrics helps standardize your whole output. For instance, tracking maturity management? That locks down the taste and the water sweetness. Even a slightly over-mature coconut changes the whole flavor profile. Tracking soil and nutrition inputs ensures consistent nut size. Pest monitoring catches weaknesses before they cause massive spoilage in storage. And strict harvesting discipline ensures the workers know exactly how to cut and stack the product to prevent those delayed onset cracks and bruises we talked about.
Moving on to Section 3, Ethical Farming Builds Trust. Beyond the profit.
Now, as we look at the farm level, we absolutely have to look at the people working on it. Research from Lorico Nutraceuticals highlights that the global coconut industry supports millions of small-scale farmers in places like India, the Philippines, and Sri Lanka. Ethical sourcing involves paying fair prices to ensure livelihoods, ensuring safe working conditions, encouraging sustainable practices, and really demanding transparency. Why does this matter so much for a B2B procurement officer? Because a financially stable, well-treated farming community is, for sure, a significantly more reliable one. It directly translates to a much more stable, uninterrupted commercial supply.
So ethical sourcing isn't just a feel-good talking point, It's literally a brilliant, smart business strategy. When suppliers actually invest in their farmers and their land, it results in higher quality raw materials across the board. It creates these authentic brand stories that end consumers just love. It proves a total commitment to premium quality, and it opens access to lucrative global markets that demand responsible production. It builds intense customer loyalty and rock-solid B2B reliability.
Let's move to Section 4, Proving Quality Through Certification. Evidence over reassurance.
I want to highlight this absolutely fantastic quote from Wholesale Estate. In 2026, buyers don't just want reassurance, they want evidence. Bam! That perfectly captures the modern shift we're seeing in global procurement mentalities. A firm handshake and a promise, they're simply no longer enough.
Look at the stark contrast here between the old way and the modern way of sourcing. The old way was this trust me approach based on highly subjective promises, which, let's be honest, inevitably led to inconsistent quality and totally unverifiable handling methods. The modern way practically screams, here's the proof. It utilizes traceable lab tests explicitly tied to specific lots. It uses verifiable hygiene and microbiology checks alongside crystal clear data on size, weight, and defect rates. Having this actual, hard data radically reduces friction when buyers are trying to onboard new suppliers.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how that proof is standardized, through formal certifications. Standards like BRCGS guarantee rigorous food safety. Organic tags ensure no synthetic chemicals are anywhere near the product. This is where industry leaders like Sri Swastic Traders really step up. When you're buying high-quality bulk coconuts from them, they ensure all these complex standardizations are met. They utilize globally recognized certifications like ISO 22000 and HACCP to solve fundamental quality and procurement problems right out of the gate. It proves their whole business runs on highly repeatable, disciplined, and safe systems.
All right, Section 5, the bulk buying advantage, streamlining procurement.
Once you have a certified, traceable supplier lined up, the absolute next logical step is bulk ordering. Sourcing insights from Suspire point out that buying in bulk offers incredible, real-world strategic advantages. We're talking substantial cost savings through economies of scale. Your internal teams spend way less time on repetitive, annoying, administrative procurement tasks. You ensure inventory readiness for those crazy busy seasons without the last-minute panic. You actually reduce environmental impact through consolidated shipping. And most importantly, consistent bulk ordering builds much stronger, more flexible relationships with your suppliers.
80. That's the magic number. It represents the amount of cartons that make up a standard industrial pallet minimum. When clients partner with true bulk experts like Sri Swastic Traders, operating at this kind of scale becomes a massive strategic advantage. They ensure that all the strict farm practices, the full traceability, and the intense testing we just discussed are uniformly applied across these massive orders, completely streamlining the procurement process for the buyer.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, Consistency is the product, the ultimate business goal.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it totally redefines what we are actually buying. In commercial trade, the coconut isn't the only product. Consistency, delivering the exact same taste, the exact same size, and the exact same safety every single time, that is what buyers are actually paying for. Whether you're sourcing from Otley Estate or heavily relying on the robust, high-quality bulk distribution of Sri Swastic Traders, total predictability is the ultimate goal. They ensure that consistency through full traceability and rigorous testing, which ultimately protects a brand's reputation and guarantees happy end consumers.
So I'm going to leave you with this final, massive question to consider for your own operations. Will your supply chain survive the shift from trust me to prove it? Because as the industry demands more traceability, much stricter standards, and verifiable certifications, adapting to these pillars of consistency isn't just an option anymore, it's quite literally the only way forward. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep asking the right questions about exactly where your products come from.